Here we are.
Bang, bang.
Once again.
I have hip surgery news I will give later on in the pod.
Oh.
An update.
All the hip heads don't even like the Sixers. They're rooting against the Sixers, but they're here for all this healthcare news.
Can I tell you, I'll mention this when I give the news. The number of emails to the Ricky email I got from like people who have either been through it or have somebody who know who have been through it, and like the well wishes actually made me feel really nice.
Very nice.
Our listeners are very nice.
Anybody go the other way?
Yeah, there were a couple people that just hope I die on the table.
Wow.
But
all right, well, it's good to have people from different perspectives. You know, that's kind of what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. The discourse, the hip discourse.
As
I did get I got a DM from somebody.
Okay.
Let me give credit. That was calling that urged me. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, here it is. Joe McGuire DM'd me.
Yeah.
Calling it a hip swap. Pretty good.
That's a good one.
Giving credit where it's due.
Yeah. Here we come.
Hip swap.
Hip swap.
The hips swapped.
The hips, that's, yes. Not my two hips, but the
that
fake
would be
hip
a mistake.
with
If they did that, you'd have another healthcare call on your hands, unfortunately.
I leave the hospital and I call them because I'm just walking in circles and
you just swapped them. Now my other one's fine. That's funny. That's a funny joke. It would be funny if that happened.
Yeah. I have read a couple where, they have mistakenly replaced the wrong hip on people before with the wrong joint. Yeah.
So they've done all sorts of stuff, haven't they?
How does that happen?
Yeah.
Well, Spike sent a wrong link for the pod initially, so maybe it's similar.
CJ,
anything could happen.
We've all put together an IKEA thing, and you get 3/4 of the way through and realize you put the back on the wrong way.
Every time for me.
Yeah.
I have to make one mistake.
Yeah.
And usually it's upside down.
Not me.
Figure,
no, not you.
I'm a professional IKEA.
He just got a hammer and he's surviving. He's just hammering IKEA things on
Mr. Allen Wrench over here.
You know the little icon of the guy that they have on the instructions? That's me. That's designed after me.
Let's do it. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is proudly presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. By the way, they did write on Twitter that they are proudly presenting us, so they are proud. Proudly presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. His cell is 302-864-8643. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. Body Bio. Get 20% off any Body Bio order with promo code Mike's Tummy at bodybio.com. And Kinetic Skateboarding, get 20% off all hikers, including New Balance, Vans, a bunch of other stuff. I'll give you more on that in a minute. On the show today, Sixers just fucking win again. What if this is the year? Cork was back. It's fucking all Covington's on the court, did mop-up duty. What world is this? Daryl Morey talks about the trades. James Harden says he is the system. A lot of stuff going on. Russell Westbrook looks thrilled. Great show coming for you. I did mention Kinetic Skateboarding. Right now, the Kinetic Ricky Hiker Special. Get 20% off a selection of awesome hikers. New Balance NB Numeric. There's Vans in there. I think there's a couple Converse in there. They're all pretty slick. We are going to put the link in the chat right now. We'll put the link in the description of the pod. Use code, at kineticskateboarding.com. Use code Ricky Trail for 20% off of them. Actually going to go on a hike with my wife this weekend. I was like, a hike? Are you kidding? I can barely walk. She said an easy one, like around a pond or something. But if you need hikers, go to Kinetic Skateboarding. We'll put the link in there. Use code Ricky Trail for 20% off. And Fly the Process Los Angeles is on sale now. We're going to Sixers Clippers March 24th. Info later on how to buy a package without the travel, because we have a lot of Ricky listeners in LA, we have found out over the last couple of days. So go to fansaffiliate.com or rightstrickysanchez.com/fly. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Forever.
Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who isn't a system podcaster. He is the system. That is Mike Levin.
Let's go, man. I'm back.
Go.
This is great.
Yeah. This is the most back we've ever been.
Well, it's so nice because it's like
we're so back.
We did this podcast. We did the podcast after the trade, which was fun. And I just like ripped through all my points. I ripped through them all. And you feel good. And then you watch a game and you're like, well, that feels good also. And now we're doing a post-game pod where I don't have to like temper myself. I don't have to go like, okay, yeah, here's the heavy thing. It's just great. I feel light as a feather. What a nice win. 2, as AU said, 2 stress-free wins over the Raptors in a week. I was on Toronto radio today talking about this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And our friend Blake Murphy asked about Korkmaz, and I said, I hope he's in the rotation. And here we are.
Look at him.
Korkmaz back.
Duncan. Please.
This is great.
What
it's
are
great.
we doing here? And the thing that struck me is that, Toronto kept, cutting the lead down. There's that little run in the third. But the thing that struck me is two separate things. One, it was a pretty easy win without some sort of massive Embiid or Maxey game offensively.
Yeah.
Like neither one was like, wow, look at that guy.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that, there's a lot of things we wanted to see from Embiid this year. Obviously a great player, won the MVP, top 2, blah, 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 blah. But one of the things I wanted to see was when I was looking at the GM survey, sort of like the best defensive big man in the league or the best defensive player in the league, and Joel's not even listed.
Yeah.
And defense Joel, at least so far this season, under Nick Nurse this season, defense Joel appears to be back.
Yeah, defense Joel, rebounding Joel.
Rebounding
He's really
Joel.
like attacking the glass on rebounds, going ferociously after rebounds
Offensive
and blocks.
rebound Joel.
Yeah, had 5 offensive rebounds in this one, 13 overall. I mean, the defense, like they're taking a ton of risks, and it's not with reckless abandon, but they are going for it, and that's leading to easy transition opportunities, which is nice. The rotations defensively, they had 12 steals tonight, which is nice. They had a ton of blocks the other night. The defensive rotations are really good. There's times when it breaks down and they don't quite know where to be. There's still some guys that haven't played with each other for a while and learning the system, all that stuff. But like when it looks good, it's like, oh shit, like this is a cohesive, together defensive team. And as time goes on, I think that's going to keep happening. And offensively, like, there's going to be stretches when the offense looks absolutely dead. And that happened tonight at the beginning of the third for a stretch when the Raptors scored 8 straight points and the Sixers just called a timeout quickly. And that's because, Maxey's still working up to it and guys still get used to it, all that stuff. Hopefully that goes away as the season goes on. But with more athletes, which they have, and better coaching, which they have, the offense is just so much more dynamic and unpredictable and just like more enjoyable to watch. Way more enjoyable to watch.
I couldn't agree more. The only thing that you notice every once in a while, which I think was in the third, is they are one scoring guy away. Because when Oubre doesn't have it, like that's when they can get into, and I know you're going to talk about Tobias, but I feel like they're one sort of dynamic-ish scoring guy away.
See, I actually disagree with that.
Really?
I think, not that I disagree with that as far as like their heights, but like I don't think that's the issue when like the offense starts looking weird. Like Toronto just started in that time, just started pressing up so much. And so it's almost like a defense in football when they're playing up in the first like the 10 yards.
We're football guys.
And you're going like, they're throwing like reverse, everything's behind the line of scrimmage. and you just got to like beat them over the top. And the Sixers kind of felt a little bit on their heels sometime. And so that happens sometimes, and you just got to get guys like going downhill more, and they adjusted, and that'll happen. But I think it's more, they don't have that bread and butter James Harden, Joel Embiid pick and roll thing. So when it's not looking like, when it's not humming, I think there's occasional stretches where it just sort of glitches and everyone's like, I don't know what to do. And it's less like they don't have a guy to get a bucket kind of thing, and more the defense is doing a good job of forcing them out of their comfort zone and getting them off track.
We got this voicemail from 833 Lickface.
Hey, Spike Mike, CJ, Daryl. So I'm watching the Sixers Raptors game on Thursday. And Cork just got that dunk and hit the three and put up the three to the crowd. And I'm got me thinking, this guy, he can be good. Why don't we play him? Why do we abuse him? His release is so high.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he shoots it, I think it's going in.
Mm-hmm.
His defense is fine. He deserves to play. Now that Doc Rivers is not here, Furkan Korkmaz deserves to play. We owe it to him. Curious for your thoughts about this. I just think he's good still.
We saw Furk. He did.
I was calling for him, man.
He did dunk. You know what was weird about tonight? It was like they were only really missing, of the guys that were playing, Petrusev played a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Green played. Oh, PJ. I forgot about PJ. It just seemed like it was one of those games where they traded 16, like 8 different players, and they had to play guys that you never saw all the time. Mm-hmm. But I was nice to see Cork. I thought he played okay, but the dunk and the three.
I thought he played great. What are you talking about? Okay.
Played okay. I thought he played okay. It was good.
He was a plus 16. He was a plus 25 for a stretch. He played 22 minutes, 4-7 from the field, 1 and 2 from 3. Had 3 steals, a couple and good steals, like Raptors-esque help defense to force those steals. One led to a dunk for himself. One, he drew a charge on OG Anunoby. That was nice. He hit the crowd starting to rise because they can feel this going in corner 3 that no one ever hits. Like only George Niang would hit that shot. That was big. And then the strip steal at the end of the third, which led to a give and go for Joel, and then got the up and under finish that Joel couldn't believe. It was amazing. It was an unbelievable play. I had a decisive attack on a closeout, a little floater. That was nice. It was a great course.
He's always had a floater. He's
always had a
floater. Yeah.
He's just a good player. And he will be helpful on this team because he can pass, because there's creativity to his dribble, especially the change of pace. There's no reason why Korkmaz, not to make a white to white comparison, but there's no reason he shouldn't be like Joe Ingles. There's no reason for it. There's no reason why Korkmaz shouldn't be Joe Ingles. He plays at his own little pace. Yeah. He's more athletic than Ingles. He's obviously not as good of a shooter, but that's the skill set. That's the little change of pace guard to, Maxey going, 100 miles an hour, and Melton, which is pretty much north-south. I think he can be helpful to this team. And you look around, and with Batum and Covington coming in, KJ Martin, everybody that talks about this trade has a different perspective on who's going to be the most helpful player. I think it's going to be Batum, but people are saying it's Covington. People are saying it's KJ Martin. And I pretty quickly dismissed it, but maybe I shouldn't have, that Marcus Morris will get in this rotation. Who knows? They have a ton of rotation players on this team. And I think it is good for Nick Nurse to cycle through those guys and see who's helpful and see what guys work out. And if someone gets hurt for a little bit, they should take their time in returning. There's no worries about PJ's dead hand this season, but maybe if Tobias gets banged up, give him a little bit of a week off. It's a long season, all that stuff. This is a deep team right now, and Nurse is going to have, depending on matchup, depending on who's hot, a lot of options to go to, at least for the next few months until, a possible trade at the deadline.
So let's sort of back up for a second here with the trade, and with Batum, I think not available tonight. Covington didn't come in until the last 2 minutes. They started
Covington back in the number 33, which I love. I
love it as well. They start Oubre. Nick Nurse did say that is he did qualify it and say that he's not. It's just for now, and he does think Oubre's scoring off the bench is important. I thought Oubre did a good job tonight in the starting lineup. I am constantly waiting for him to be the Oubre that I expected.
Yeah.
But I thought he was good tonight. I thought he played hard on defense. And when he's making shots, all those things are like, when he's making shots, he looks like an all-star, you know?
Yeah.
And he hit that one heat check three. There's one heat check three from Oubre.
He hit 2 heat check threes, which makes me think that there's a regression Piper that's going to need to be paid.
Yeah, but I thought he played well. I thought his
offense was great. He missed a couple bunnies, which is weird. But he got to the rim a lot. He so easily gets to the rim. He's quick. He's dangerous from like all areas of the mid range. Like the thing that I love is that he's just been shooting off the catch quickly. He shoots it high also. Got that lovely lefty shot. He's really taken away those sort of slow, selfish, long developing twos that he would take on a bad team. It's either pretty much it's going up or he's attacking. And then he did take those heat checks, and it's going to regress for sure. He was 5 to 6 from 3 tonight. 23 points on 13 shots. He's been excellent. I really liked the weak side offensive rebound and dunk. I've been watch him attack the offensive glass on rebounds. He does a really nice job of just sort of finding a hole, and he's long enough and athletic enough to get a piece of it. He got the Scotty Barnes assignment in this one, and I thought that in the first quarter he was a little too happy to be starting. And he started getting a little dancy on defense, a little bit too much leaving his guy, and Scotty got a couple open threes out of it. But I think Kelly's just been excellent. I think he's really, really helpful to this team. Crazy value on the minimum, as I said before the season started. He's going to get cold, but he's just an athlete that can put the ball on the deck and defend and shoot a little bit. Like you got to squint. And you got to like sort of shave off the 20% worse stuff.
Oh no!
But like,
no,
I'm not comparing to anybody.
Okay.
You got to shave off like the 20% of badness.
Yeah.
But he can do everything on a basketball court. There's nothing that he can't do.
Sure.
He just occasionally
he
does it poorly. Like he does it too much or in the wrong time. And so as far as like, a 5-tool type of player, like there's everything that you can do. And it's nice when he's out there, you just feel like, okay, they're going to get a decent look at something, and he's not crazy exploitable on defense. He's been excellent so far through 4 games that they should be 4-0 on, by the way.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. I would love to have a shore home in Delaware. If I ever got one, I would go to Ksebe. They call him, you go to the Delaware beaches, they call Ksebe the king of the Delaware beaches. Everywhere you go, pictures of him on, telephone poles, all that kind of stuff. His team is based out of Long and Foster and Bethany Beach. Delaware beaches, if you have never been, excellent, awesome. Bethany, awesome. Rehoboth, awesome. Lewis, awesome. All awesome shore towns. And the huge advantage over New Jersey is property taxes are way, way, way lower. But everybody wants one of these right now, and you need a great realtor to make sure that you can actually even get a house if you want one. Adam Ksebe is the person you need. 302-864-8643. Someone in the chat, text him right now, see if he's awake. 302-864-8643. If you get a response, the first one, get a response, please post it in the chat. 302-864-8643. Any of the Delaware beaches, anywhere in Delaware, anywhere in Maryland. Right now, a very hard time to buy a home, especially like a shore home. There's not a lot of inventory out there. People are fighting over them. You need somebody like Adam Ksebe. And if you need a home in Delaware, not in Delaware or not in Maryland, say PA, New Jersey, New York, somewhere else, he can't sell it for you, but here's what he'll do for you. Call him or email him. The email is adam@processrealtor.com. He'll find out what you're looking for, and he will interview realtors to find you the right one. He's got a giant Rolodex sitting there on his desk. It's huge, like cartoon size. Like if Pee Wee Herman had a Rolodex, it's got tons of names in it. He will find the one for you. He is a valued partner of the Ricky, and we love him to death. Adam Ksebe, Ksebe, 302-864-8643, or adam@processrealtor.com. All right. Now, I've mentioned it before when we talked about Tobias Harris, that the beginning of last year, until, of course, he was on this podcast, we saw a different Tobias. Now, I have stated before, I don't think there's anyone on the Sixers who is happier that James Harden is gone than Tobias Harris. And that makes me nervous because Tobias likes to cook. But so far this season, he cooks sometimes, but he cooks so much quicker. He's gone from an oven to a microwave. It seems like his moves are much quicker, even like those little, 6-footers or 8-footers that he seems to shoot that go in a lot, like a great deal. He's been good, man. Tobias Harris has been good. He's been exactly what they need so far this year.
He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great. Played
Yep.
40 minutes tonight. I do think that the depth thing, like Nick Nurse doesn't have to play everybody 40 minutes. Like that's not something that I need, but he loves it. He loves playing his dudes. Fine.
Yep.
Tobias has been excellent. I've really, the shots are going up quick. That's the thing that's going to get the most attention. He loves that straightaway three. Had a nice three off of a pull up, off of a Joel screen at the top of the key. That was really nice. The thing that I've been most impressed with is his finishing. He's been really, really nice through contact, off the glass, both hands, full speed, going end to end a couple times. He had a couple beautiful post ups against Siakam late in the game. Once he started really feeling himself, he's like, "I'm playing good. I'm playing well." He like earns another like pivot each time he plays well. It's like, okay, I can really pivot. And so he had a post up on Siakam that he pivoted like 6 or 7 times and got the N1 on the foul. Like really, really nice. The defense is good too. Had 3 steals. I wouldn't have expected Tobias to look good in Nick Nurse's system, but he's coming up with steals. He's making some nice rotations. Had a big dunk on a
big dunk.
It was a dagger steal into a dunk that Joel like sealed for him on that. I always like that. Really, really nice game. He's been great. He's played 4 excellent games. What can you say? I don't want to read too much into it, but I am like contract year Tobias.
Oh yeah, it is.
Quick decision Tobias. No Harden Tobias. Nick Nurse, a good coach. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? He's been great.
Who else?
Well, we didn't talk about Joel.
It was just the thing that I like the most about Joel. First of all, by the way, before we get to the defense, on the very first play of the game, he made a really nice pass.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick decision pass. He looks like, even the ones, you can tell he's just like naturally not really all that good at it. Yep. But he does seem like he's thinking about trying to do it more.
Definitely.
And he's attempting it more. And he's not holding the ball quite as long.
Absolutely. He had 7 assists tonight. I think Dan Devine tweeted that as the first, or tied for the longest stretch of his career. He's had over 4 assists. And he's like way over it in a couple of those games.
Does he have 3 or 4 turnovers, something like that?
He had 4 turnovers. One was on a really bad, just like, I got to come up with like what this is called, but I've talked to you about this before. I think it was to Korkmaz, and B just threw it like 6 feet off base, like and low. It was like a Donovan McNabb worm burner type of thing, and it honestly looks like when a pitcher fields the ball and then is throwing to first, and it's like, well, you're a pitcher. That's what you do. You should be able to like make this throw. That's an easier one. Just take your time, make the throw. But it's the mechanics are different, and sometimes his thumbs or hands get in the way of the pass, and it makes it look like he's never held a basketball before. I don't know if that's a technique thing or just I have no idea what's happening, but something with his hands are happening on some of those passes, which is crazy. But aside from that one thing, yeah, his turnovers came in like, dribbling in the lane too much, one charge, like getting a little bit of that. But he's been whipping the ball around to shooters really quickly, being decisive there. He had a nice overhead pass to Kelly Oubre in the opposite corner. That was funny. I wouldn't recommend doing it often, but he's having a good time doing it. It's fun. It's like seeing him be a passer and enjoy being a passer is a nice change of pace for him. Trying to earn the right to say things like that crazy Jokic quote that he said earlier this season.
He didn't say it. Oh, did he say it?
Yeah, he said, "Why can't I play like that?" Was Ramona
Shelburne said that he said it.
Yeah. Well, he has said like, "This is how I always wanted to play."
Yeah.
He said that.
Yes, he did say that.
He had a nice one time. He got called for a charge on Schroeder. Came over and drew a charge on him. A couple plays later, maybe a quarter later, same thing happened, except he reacted to it quickly and had a nice little like sidestep, leave, shovel past to Tobias for a finish. That was nice. It was good to see him be able to. I love watching him like decelerate, and he usually does it to get his own shot at the rim. But it was nice to see him do it to a pass. But it was just great. I still would love him to stop trying to force it too much off the dribble. But that's going to come as he has more. Maybe if he trusts Covington more, he trusts The problem that I've talked a lot about how it's so nice that they're cutting off of him. It's so nice that they're cutting off him, that there's movement off him. It's not just people standing there. But the problem sometimes when it's too many people moving is that nobody's actually like a safety valve, release valve for an open three. And so finding that balance of what is helpful for Joel so that the paint is clear and not too clogged is good. But, we're working through it, and they look good as they're doing it.
B-ball had an active game, I thought.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the sense that when B-ball's playing, the other players, like he is so chaotic that the other players get more chaotic too? They start dropping the ball and kicking it in the lane.
Maybe, yeah.
I think there's a little bit that is contagious about it.
Yeah, he was, the home crowd seems to be nervous about him. You can tell in a way that they really haven't been in previous years. And so he missed a little like spinning hook. There's a couple things he just wasn't, he seemed uncomfortable doing it. And then he had one catch on the roll that he turned into a dunk, which was nice. And then you could tell he was like, okay, I could break my man down off the dribble. I'm just going to pass to Tobias. And you see him being like, and I'm making the pass to Tobias and nobody's going to be upset at me. And he knows that he like isn't going to get pulled in the way that he would have with Doc. But I think he's still like, okay, I'm going to earn my moments of b-ball Paulness where I'm just going to make this pass here. But he's still havoc on the offensive glass. He had 3 offensive rebounds in 12 minutes, bunch of tap outs. He does such a good job defensively, cutting off driving lanes and getting a hand on a block. Like I just really trust him. He's probably the guy I trust most when he's in a one-on-one situation. I don't think that they need to help. As I said at the live podcast with B-ball, like I don't think that they need to send help ever. I think he's a really helpful player, but he's not Joel. And the defense will occasionally, even though he individually is good at those kinds of things.
No kidding.
As an anchor to the defense, he is in the wrong position sometimes, and the team is not as safe with him out there as Joel is on defense. So that's what some of the runs are going to happen with B-ball out there. But Joel is, he's one of the best players in the league. That's why he does it.
It feels like the first game I could be wrong, I don't remember him hitting one. The first game in 2 years where Maxey didn't hit a 3.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah, but that he was able to be effective without doing it. He was fine. It was a fine Maxey game. It was. They're not all going to be 34 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. So it was fine. I thought he was fine. He didn't. Did he turn the ball over?
Just once.
There you go. So. Yeah.
His assist he might lead the lead in assist to turnover ratio this year. Which is going to be pretty cool for a young first time lead guard.
Has he turned the ball over more than one time in any game?
No.
Yeah,
not so
that's
far.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I think part of it, and Blake Murphy made this point on the radio today in Toronto, was like you kind of want him to try stuff a little bit more. I wouldn't mind the turnovers. Not like all turnovers are inherently bad, especially in the regular season. But he doesn't turn the ball over on ball. And he's just making the passes that's available to him. And so I would like him to get a little bit more creative with it. But, I thought he played really nicely. It was cool. Like, this was the first game. Like, OG Anunoby had him for a lot of the game. And it was really cool to watch because OG is one of the best wing defenders in the league. And also so big and hard to score over and around. And it's just good. It's good for him to do that. It was good for him in the Celtics series last year to, like, be a focal point of the defense and see like how hard it is to get shots off against like bigger, quicker guys. Not quicker, but like guys that can keep up with him a little bit. And it was cool for him in this one to get on OG. And he beat him a couple times, but it just made it hard for him. And I think the Raptors really, especially after he shot 7 of 9 from 3 in the last game against the Raptors, they were like, we're not going to let him beat us from 3. And so he had to turn the corner. And I love watching him turn the corner, man. It's so hard he puts it up off this glass so soft. And that's so hard to do. He has that floater off the glass before the big can rotate over. He's just got it all. I love him, man. I love watching Tyrese Maxey play basketball. And as much as he's going to need to take over sometimes and decide I'm not playing that well, or I don't, I'm being covered as the number one guy, so maybe I should defer. I know that he has to do that, but like I also like that he just knows that it's just like, hey, somebody else is open. It's nice, man. He's the best. And really, like, I think, I don't know if you're seeing it, but I think him and Embiid are really getting used to that like pocket pass situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's finding it like in different ways. It's not always the same exact thing. He's getting it to him in different ways.
They just got to do it over and over and over
Absolutely.
and over and over again.
And every part of his game sets up the other parts of his game. So like his step back now all of a sudden sets up the drive, and the drive sets up Embiid for a pass, and making that Embiid pass sets up like the weak side corner for him to swing it that way. And so it's just all of it plays together, and the defense has to keep reacting to him. And he's great. And he played great defense tonight. He had a couple steals. He had a couple steals on ball, one on Siakam that he used quick hands on to a huge strip of him. Had a good like blow up a pass to Grady Dick that he just took the other way. He plays hard. He's paying attention. He's got quick hands. That's great. He did get called for a delay of game, which I always think is so stupid. Hey, you delayed the game so that we're going to call a technical foul on you so that we will further delay the game. Like, what is the point of this? What are we doing? Why does there need to be a delay of game that delays the game further? It's nonsense. But Maxey had an excellent game, and even without the shooting from three, it is like you said, like nice to see him be able to affect the game while he's not just banging in 30-footers.
I started laughing because I thought about the B-Ball Paul section of the pod where I was like, B-Ball Paul played tonight, and you were like, yep.
It always is. That's the B-Ball experience, man. We're living it.
That's about it, right? Springer,
well, I thought it was a pretty
full, and Beverly plays a lot.
I thought it was a pretty bad Melton game.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's trying to do too much.
He has clunkers like that.
Absolutely. He just doesn't need to be taking like dribble drives into step backs. Like he doesn't need to be trying to do too much. And I think he is right now. And that is the experience with a guy that should be like a 3-and-D player, also playing some point. He had a couple, man, the brutal misses at the rim. That's going to bite him. That's going to happen in a big spot. And you're
There's
just like,
one where he looked like he was going to dunk it, and he
know.
wound up like 8 inches short. And
can you just finish,
really
man? Can you just
the rim? Yeah.
He had 3 threes attempted in the first like 3 minutes, and then had none for the rest of the game. I'm not worried about him. I just think I would like him to not change who he is on the court sometimes. Which now that he's the role of backup point guard primarily, he's starting to. Springer, instant offense, man. Instant offensive rebound. Get some other possessions.
Instant offense is
instant offense. Had a 3 that they called back, which I hated.
Yeah.
I hated that they called that back. It was a pull-up 3 that was beautiful. He just gets them more possessions. He's the first to so many balls. Pat Bev also Springer also had a really nice pass. One of the things I really liked about him in college was that he was a smart and savvy passer in a different way, and his handle has not quite earned him the right to make those passes, but he had a really nice pass from the wing to a ceiling Embiid. That was good. And he's going to foul. He's going to foul like crazy, and I don't care. I'm fine with it. And I thought Pat Bev was great. I really like watching him rebound. He's helpful on rebounds, which is crazy to say for a 6'1" guard that can't really jump anymore.
And he is so consistently irritating to the other team. He never turns it down. Like he's never not being Pat Bev ever.
And he's more valuable now. There's a chance that only one of Pat Beverly or Springer should be in the rotation. And as we get the new guys, we'll find out who that ends up being. It'll probably be Bev for a while. But without PJ Tucker, without Danny Green, with other guys that can do stuff on the court, Pat Bev becoming like, I'm a little bit, stiff, and I can't do a ton of it, like becomes more valuable. That thing when it was PJ and Danny at the same time, and you're like, guys, somebody's got to be able to like dribble into a mid range or finish at the rim or something. The fact that he's now the only guy without those two guys is really helpful. And he did take a couple threes; they didn't go in, but I think that's fine. And he had a nice lob. He's a fine passer. Like he's great. I literally like the pick and pop of Malachi that he finished for a layup was nice. Good Pat Bev game.
The Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Big Barker Dog Beds. Woof, 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 woof. My dog, Rebel, who I love, he is my pride and joy, as they say. He sleeps on a Big Barker. I wouldn't think of Rebel sleeping on anything else because I care about Rebel's health. I care about Rebel's happiness. You as a dog owner should care about your dog's health and your dog's happiness. And if you do, your dog should be sleeping on a Big Barker. Big Barker Dog Beds. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky you get the Big Barker dog bed, 2 processed pup patches. Where next time I'm going to bring one so I can show one on the screen. They're fucking cool. It's a cool design Tanner did. They're iron-on patches, so you can put them on the bed, put them on whatever you want. Send us a picture, put them in the gallery. The thing about the Big Barker dog bed, I said the reason, if you really love your dog, you get a Big Barker, is because the bed is simply a real bed, whereas most dog beds are not. And it'll keep your dog healthier because it'll support your dog's joints. That's it. Dogs sleep the fuck out of the day. Dogs sleep like 18 hours a day. They can't be sleeping on some bullshit bed. Got to sleep on a bed engineered by experts to keep your dog's joints healthier. It does it. Penn Vet study shows an improvement in joint function, reduction in pain severity, reduction in joint stiffness. All true. Imagine if you slept on a bad bed every night. Imagine how your joints would feel. You'd be like me, needing a fucking hip replacement. Go to bigbarker.com/Ricky if you know what's good for you. Come in every size, every shape, every color for tiny little dogs up until big giant dogs. Different depending on what room. Looks kind of fly in the room. Once again, bigbarker.com/Ricky. 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, they will give you a refund. They'll even pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds.
Woo-woo!
833 Lickface.
Hi, Spike, Mike, PJ, and Daryl. My name is Derek. I am calling about the Fly the Process this year. I have been in Los Angeles for 23 years, and my son and I religiously go and see the boys every time they come out to play the Clippers. We don't want to spend any money on those fucking Lakers. How do we get involved, despite the fact that we're here, so we won't need travel, we won't need lodging? What section do you guys try to get tickets in? And how can we position ourselves with the Ricky crowd? We would very much like to participate. Fuck James Harden. That fucker.
Now, that guy left his cell number, which I cut out of the voice message. I did text him this morning. If you are on the West Coast or you need a non-travel package, you're traveling from somewhere else, whatever, email joe@fansofphilly.com, fans with a PH, joe@fansofphilly.com. Joe will make a custom package for you. Otherwise, go to rightsrickysanchez.com/fly. We'll be there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. The game's on Sunday. We'll end up with a pregame party that is, all inclusive. We'll all have tickets together. We'll be in a hotel really close to the venue. Maybe we'll do something for March Madness is Saturday, right?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a party on Saturday. It's going to be a great time. We were in San Antonio last year. Never been to the West Coast. Very happy to go. So go to rightsrickysanchez.com/fly.
No one is allowed to stay at my house.
What's that?
No one allowed to stay at my house.
What if
Nobody.
they can't? What if?
Well, maybe CJ.
Okay, there you go.
CJ's in.
I was like, did I write it somewhere? Alyssa's basketball team should do like a signing.
They play Tuesday nights.
You
guys will be gone.
We can't get them together on a Friday or something.
I don't know.
Do some autographs.
I don't know that there's enough time in the world for me to explain why that would be interesting to anybody.
So, the only reason I thought this was interesting, if you looked on Twitter on Wednesday, you could see pictures of Sixers players in costumes. And there was this little video I found. You have the video, CJ? Can we play it? This video I found on Reddit of the Halloween party. And the reason that I thought it was interesting is that it was Joel Embiid's Halloween party.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? Isn't it nice that he had a party? He doesn't seem like the type. And the fact that he's having all the players over, there he is. So Joel was Frankenstein. I think
there's bowling in his house.
Yeah, I guess he's got Fittler Lane.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is in Fittler Square in Philly.
Okay.
Not at his house.
Not at his house.
Okay.
So could you put up the pictures of the players in their costumes, CJ? And I just want to I think that's Pat Bev right there.
Yeah, you can tell.
So, Maxey is like an Urkel type character.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse is and if you're watching on video here, I would go to Spotify video or YouTube. Tobias is just like, I kind of imagine Tobias dressing like this on the weekend. Is he a golfer?
He's the Wrexham coach, right?
I've never seen that show.
Or whatever the Ted Lasso or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was Ted Lasso, but I don't watch that show.
Beverly is some sort of like zombie king, or is that from a show I don't know or something? What Beverly is? Okay. Embiid is Frankenstein. Mo Bamba is some sort of like African king or something. There you go. Now, D'Anthony Melton is just wearing a hockey jersey. Is he supposed to be like a white person, or what is D'Anthony Melton? It's a hockey jersey.
It's just a New York Ranger. It's Mark Messier.
Was it I don't think it's a Rangers jersey. I think it's the right color. It's the right color.
Isn't it a Rangers jersey, CJ?
I don't think it is.
It's the colors of a Rangers jersey, but I can't read out what it says on the entire front of it. It's definitely not a Rangers.
No. Now,
typeface, but yeah.
The thing I really like is in the group picture, you look in the back and Mr. Trade himself, Furkan Korkmaz, just no one told him it was a costume party.
Yeah, or he's got like a very specific costume.
He's just wearing a black shirt.
No way to know. He could have been. He's like, I'm the opposite of Michael Rubin.
Tim in the chat says that D'Anthony Melton is Mike Scott. Now that is very funny. Wearing the hockey jersey. He's the only Sixer I remember wearing a hockey jersey. I don't think he was, but and everyone is saying that Tobias is Ted Lasso, but I've never seen Ted Lasso. So there you go.
It's nice that they're having a party.
Yeah, it's nice that Joel Embiid had a party. So James Harden, there were 2 press availabilities, this week. One, Daryl Morey, the other one, James Harden. There were a few sort of weird James Harden videos, and then there's the quote today. The first video, actually, could we, instead of doing the clip, could we do the one where he walked into the locker room and everybody is just sort of like, did you see this one, Mike?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for the listeners.
Yeah, it almost looks like they're playing a joke on him.
Yeah, like when you hit a home run and nobody in the dugout reacts to it.
Terrence Mann's barely looking at him.
Terrence Mann is seething.
Yeah. Well,
he
Terrence Mann's
could not give a shit.
Yeah. And even the Clippers employees that are against the wall are barely even paying attention. So then...
I don't know why they would post this.
Yeah. Like, look at the guys against the wall. Like, why would they put... Everyone looks miserable.
Very bizarre.
Yeah. So then they asked Russell Westbrook a question on integrating James Harden. And this was Russell Westbrook's response. Now, remember, Russell Westbrook has played with him 2 other times. They're supposedly friends or whatever. And it's a very normal question about integrating a new player who is a primary ball handler. Okay. Why don't we go?
It's going to come together.
It's going to be a process. Good work.
Hey, Russ, to that point of being a process, what do you think it's going to take for the entire group, including yourself, to get through the process?
Give it a break, y'all. Be a process. Yeah. Like I don't have the answer. I don't know. I don't predict the future. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I don't know, bro. But it's gonna be a process. It's gonna be ups and downs. It's gonna be good games, bad games. It's not just gonna come together and mesh and we're gonna be perfectly fine. That's unrealistic expectations for everybody. The real expectations, like I said, is gonna be a process. I don't have the answer what that is.
That seems like a guy who's thrilled.
Interesting. This is now their 3rd time playing on a different team.
Yeah, like wouldn't of anybody in the entire world know what it's like to integrate James Harden? Wouldn't Russell Westbrook be one of the guys?
Pretty much, you would think. Yeah. I don't really.
Like, there's no need to be irritated of that. So then there's this.
It is going to be weird to watch. Like,
yes.
Take away any of our feelings towards Harden and his failures here. I'm mostly just happy it's over. I don't feel like a ton of animosity toward him. I'm just happy to be done with it. It's going to be weird. Like on a basketball level, all 4 of those guys being on the court at the same time is going to be bizarre.
Well, especially because Westbrook loves having the ball all the time. Kawhi loves having the ball all the time. They all do. KOC.
There's no superstar that's like, I don't need it.
And
don't give it to me.
We'll play this next clip, but KOC noted that of all the players in the NBA last year, James Harden had the ball for the 2nd most time in the entire league.
Yes, and it felt that way.
So here was James with a quote that will live forever at his introductory press conference today.
I don't think when I'm in a leash, I'm not meant just shooting the basketball every time. I meant like I think the game and I'm a creator on the court. You know what I mean? So if I got a voice to where I can, hey coach, I see this. You know what you think about this? Then it's like, oh, okay. Like somebody that trusts me, that believes in me, that understands me, that I'm just not I'm not a system player. I am a system. You know what I mean? So somebody that can have that dialogue with me and understand and move forward and figure out and make adjustments on the fly throughout the course of games, that's all I really care about. You know what I mean? It's not about me scoring a basketball, scoring 30, 34 points. I've done it already. So that's what I meant by that.
So,
yeah, I mean, let's be clear. 3, 5, definitely 8 years ago, he was 100%. He was the system. Everything revolved around him. They started covering him like behind him. That was crazy. It was like he was a legendary offensive player. He is not that guy anymore. And also, he said he was on a leash in Philadelphia. He didn't get to do all the stuff he wanted to. He had the ball the second most in the league. He got to do a ton of stuff. I don't know what does it look like?
Scored like what? Like 22 points and 13 rebounds or 13 assists a game or something fucking crazy?
He just loves talking about sacrifice. And it's like, what are you not getting to do?
Yeah.
What was it that you weren't getting to do with the basketball here? You had it all the time. Did you want to finish around the rim more? You got worse at finishing around the rim. Did you want to try to draw like more fouls? They stopped calling those fucking fouls. It wasn't working. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. The only thing he could do was throw pocket passes to Joel or whip it to the corner or whatever, or to take step backs. And if the step backs weren't going in, then it's over. His usefulness is gone. He's still a very good player, but there's no like him being the whole engine of an offense the way he was 2017.
I'm not a system player. I am a system. Can you imagine if you're Kawhi Leonard just watching this going, what the fuck is this?
Well, it's crazy to say that because he was saying like, I was on a leash. I didn't get to do what I wanted, but like whatever T. Lue needs me to do, like I'm doing. It's like, those seem like the opposite.
Yeah. If he needs me to score 13 points as long as we win.
That seems straight up the opposite of what you just said.
How actually,
and I don't know how people can't hear themselves when they're saying opposite things back to back. It wasn't like later in the press conference. It was like right back to back. He's like, they have me on leash. They don't let me do anything. Anyway, I'll do whatever they need. That all adds up to me.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Body Bio, the company that we believe in, local family-owned and operated supplement company that really screwed Mike out of being an influencer. There was a lot that was coming. Next year. Yeah, it is wait till next year. I thank Body Bio Mike. Body Bio Mike sent me a note. He's going to send me some supplements that he think will help with my hip surgery recovery. As I mentioned, we've talked a lot about Gut Plus. It won't be back in stock for a while. The good news is they have something else that is a gut supplement, is a postbiotic, will help you be more regular, will get rid of bloat. A great product called sodium butyrate. If you Butyrate, you're taking that now, right? You take butyrate? Yes. So go to bodybio.com, use code Mike's Tummy. Just give sodium butyrate a try. A couple pills a day, I think. Or do you take it with a meal? Do you take sodium butyrate with a meal?
I usually take it after, yeah.
Okay, take it with a meal. There you go. There's a lot of gut supplements out there. There's a lot of probiotics out there. Try butyrate. If you're going to take one gut supplement with Gut Plus not there, take sodium butyrate. Go to bodybio.com. And I won't ever stop telling you about E-Light. E-Light is the hydration solution. Being hydrated is not just about water. I drink enough water now. Drink a lot of seltzer. You need electrolytes too. But what you don't need is those sugary drinks, the purple, orange, and if not sugar, there's artificial flavors, artificial colors. You don't need all that junk. All you need is pure electrolytes, which is what Elite is. Take a cap full of it, put it in your drink in the morning, put it in your drink in the evening. Got rid of my cramp problems. I'm telling you, I love Body Bio. And the greatest thing about the website is that every product is explained on the site. Go to bodybio.com, use code Mike's Tummy. You will get 20% off your order at any time. Bodybio.com. Daryl Morey spoke as well. I actually didn't think he said much anything. I pulled a few of the quotes. We're going to have Daryl on the pod, and we'll get some real answers from Daryl Morey. I did like this on Robert Covington.
Folks know Robert Covington, quite a fun reunion for myself as well. I think part of Sixers lore, I was amazed. He's like second in made 3-pointers. I just talked to him. He's about to go. He's like, I'm breaking that record. So let's have that.
So he is second all time, and I think he's 173s. Yeah, behind Iverson.
Mm-hmm.
173s. How many threes is he going to make a game for the Sixers?
The leader in threes last year for the Sixers, there were a bunch. I looked this up when I saw the quote. Harden, Maxey, Melton, and Niang all had like about 160 in like 150, 160 range.
Okay, so he would need 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's gonna at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Then
he was asked. I would love for Covington to.
I love seeing Cov on the court tonight in his Sixers
that was great.
uniform.
I wanted a bit of more of a smile, but I think he was like, "Why am I? Am I either playing or I'm not playing?"
What do you think? Do you think Nurse put him out there just so he could get the applause?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And I liked Cov's reaction when he said he was coming home on Twitter. Yeah. Like, I'd like that Cov thought that way.
That's great, man.
So
we haven't had a guy come back. It's great to have a guy come back.
So Daryl was asked whether Maxey's play made him more likely to make the trade when he did.
So it actually didn't. We sort of set this bar, and we were probably a little too public. Just because this played out a little more public than I think either side would have liked. But I think it was pretty well known what we were targeting. We're very excited how Tyrese and Joel and the team is playing. But look, it's 82 games. It's a real mistake to make any decisions after 3 games. So we really work hard to avoid that. So we're excited how he's playing, but this was really about the Clippers hitting the price we needed for this trade.
Yeah,
I agree with him. I think
clearly.
It made it feel nicer when he traded him that Tyrese was playing well.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for everybody else.
There was, not to go back, but there was an Embiid post-game answer on Harden's comments.
What did he say?
This is from Newbeck. He gave a lot of praise. Mm-hmm. But then ended in,
oh boy,
we allowed him to just be himself. We gave him the ball on every single possession because he's really good. He's an amazing player. I'm not that great of a passer, so we gave him the ball. I
That's a fair answer.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like,
true.
Dude, you did. Like, you were there. You had it. It was. I remember. We all remember. What did Harden think? Did Harden? I know he hangs out with PJ Tucker a lot, and their package deal. But like, PJ was the one standing in the corner. Did Harden like sort of internalize that and think that that's what he was doing? Because that isn't what happened. Harden took like 1.5 catch and shoot threes a game, and is like, I did the most sacrificing everyone ever did. I practically died in combat.
I'm going to play one more clip because these answers, Daryl needs a proper interview, and it only happens here. So he was asked about Joel's mindset and how he's feeling, and whether he approved of the trade and so on and so forth.
Is he happy is a question for Joel, but look, I can just tell you our relationship and his relationship with the front office, ownership, Coach Nurse is extremely strong. It's been the Joel stuff that's like really competitors as far as we can tell, trying to generate that. In terms of like, Joel is a very smart player. He's obviously the cornerstone as the MVP of the league. We always keep him aware of what we're planning. He's very comfortable in the approach we're taking, and he feels like it gives us the best chance to win. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All sounds fair to me. I agree with all of that. I agree that there's not that Joel Embiid isn't whispering that he wants to go anywhere. I don't think any of the public rumors are anything more than people trying to like speak it into existence. And
yeah, and the occasional like Joel trolling on Twitter, which after how bad he was in Game 7 and how unpleasant the vibe is, the like trolling was not fun for anybody. Like everybody just turned against the Sixers, and Joel's like, here, I'm doing the fun thing. I'm doing like the cutesy thing that I do. And everyone was like, fuck you. Like, we're not into that right now. Maybe later, but not now.
They did turn. He had no idea. He just woke up. He was like, oh, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Like, no,
and now it's fun again. So he can be back now. That's good. Okay. All good.
What did I want to say? And then last thing. Did you see the old B-Ball Paul tweet?
About Harden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it up, CJ. An all-time tweet. I don't like James Harden no more.
That's right.
Now, October 30th, 2012. I wonder what this was about.
B-Ball was like 15.
Yeah. But 2012, so Harden would have been on the Thunder at that point in 2012. Like, I just wonder what would have happened that made him say that.
I don't know that B-Ball Paul could have told you. It's a long time ago.
B-Ball Paul's doing a podcast.
I saw that.
Yeah, I love Paul.
Podcast Paul. Well, we're happy to have him on again.
Oh yeah, I wonder if he remembers being on. So we got this email from Dan, writes to rickysanchez@gmail.com. Instead of trading away draft capital, why not wait until the summer and sign Anunoby or Siakam? And who else is really, truly available, trade or signing, than those two, and who can make a significant difference during Embiid's remaining prime? I don't think I understand this idea, but I simply don't. I simply don't think people understand what I hate using crapshoot because that's what people always said about the draft. But how risky counting on signing a guy in free agency when other teams will want him and trade for him at the deadline with the intent of re-signing him.
Yeah.
My sense is this, and I wonder if you agree, if they have more assets now, but they don't have dick around assets, like they don't have enough to trade a one at the deadline and then also this summer make some sort of blockbuster thing. Like,
they kind of do. I had it corrected to me.
After the draft, they will have five.
They will have 5 first-round picks to trade
after the draft.
After the draft, because then 2031 first-round pick becomes available to trade.
Yes. So they have 3 now, and then after the draft, they will have 5.
At the draft, they'll have 4. A couple days after the draft, they'll have 5. So you can really delay that kind of trade.
My gut is this: if you think Pascal Siakam is the guy that you want to sign in the offseason, you have to go get him at the trade deadline.
I think you have to try.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the deal with, it might not be similar to Daryl having leverage that he would be happy for James Harden to play on this team so he doesn't have to trade him. Masai could feel that. And Masai is notoriously difficult to trade with and will be asking for a lot for those two guys in Siakam and Anunoby. Anunoby looked good tonight. Siakam looked not as good. I asked Blake Murphy about if Nick Nurse has any issues with Siakam or Anunoby, and he said no. All those guys are good. There's a couple other like role player types on Toronto that seem to have more beef with Nurse, but Anunoby, Siakam, and Van Vliet were always cool with Nurse. So, who would you, between the two of them, who would you rather have?
Siakam.
Because Siakam, so those guys, so the guys that the Sixers just acquired, none of those players can be aggregated until January 1st. So you can trade one of them by themselves.
Yeah.
Like you can trade Marcus Morris right now, and his $17 million contract fits nicely with OG Anunoby right now.
But you would think that neither of those guys is getting traded until February.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Well, who would you pick?
It's tough.
Anunoby's a little overrated right now.
His defense is so good. It is game-changing defense. and you were always waiting for him to take the next step. I think he probably thinks he could do Jaylen Brown stuff offensively. I don't think he
dribble the ball off his foot.
Could.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown's awesome. Like he averaged like 25 points a game. He's not like, friggin' Zaire Smith. What are we talking about here?
He's not awesome. He's good.
He absolutely is awesome. And the like internet like piling on to like that he can't dribble with left hand is, I think, just wrong and a little stupid. He's very, very good. And I would love him if he was on the Sixers. It's an interesting question with OG or Siakam. Siakam right now costs a lot more.
Yeah.
So that the contracts that they would have to trade would go up. I certainly wouldn't go like, okay, Tobias and all those picks for Siakam. I don't think that Siakam is that much better than Tobias Harris. He's better, but he's not 4 first-round picks better than Tobias Harris. 3 first-round picks better than Tobias Harris. I don't think so at all. So if you go like, all right, yeah, Marcus Morris, Batum, Korkmaz, whatever, and you get Siakam in the building for the half of the year and sign him to probably a max deal this offseason, it's really interesting. I'm
should have just traded Harden for him.
Could have. Things going really well in Toronto right now. It's really interesting to see what the guy that they end up with, because as we said before, like Paul George is the guy that the Sixers could want. And so if the Sixers think that there's a chance that shit goes bad in LA and that they could be the team that Paul George wants to come to this summer, then you don't want to waste your cap space on somebody lesser than that,
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interesting stuff. I think odds are Daryl will try a lot. He prefers to use I think he knows that it's hard to just sign people outright and be the team that people pick in free agency. In a trade, it's a little bit different. They're already signed to that deal. He wants to come here, be the guy in the middle. You trade the picks for him. There's negotiating, all that stuff. I think it'll be a little bit harder to say like, okay, we're not going to trade for anybody this offseason. We're gonna put our, Mark Cuban-esque, all of our chips on the idea that we're going to sign Paul George July 1 and then have those picks to play with after the fact. It's ballsy. Could happen. Seems unlikely. I think Daryl's going to make a trade at the deadline for the guy he wants.
I also think that we can't discount the quality of the Sixers team at the deadline, sort of dictating, at least in part, what he does.
I actually disagree.
Oh, I don't at all.
Let's talk about our friend Daryl.
Okay.
Do you think that the role players on this team and how well they shoot in the regular season is going to have a material impact on his precious percentage chance that the Sixers have to win the championship?
I don't understand your question.
I think regardless of how well they play and the role players between Maxey and Embiid play, I think Daryl is going to think that they're not going to win a championship unless they have a third guy there.
Oh, no.
Even
I
if
don't
they
disagree.
Whether they play well or play poorly, I think he's going to say, if I can get a guy that could raise that percentage, I'm going to do it. And I don't think it's going to matter how they're playing.
No, I think what I'm saying is sort of the opposite, that if they are good, that it's more likely that he will go for it and obtain that sort of player.
Yeah, especially if they're good on the backs of Maxey and Joel. Sure.
Yeah. And I think they would have to be. And my guess is they would have to be. I don't think any of the players they've acquired are going to muscle them into that. I think it'll be on the backs of those two guys. So yeah, my thought was more like, hey, if the Sixers are somehow riding in like the 2 seed,
certainly
by the
possible.
deadline,
the Bucks don't look good.
Yeah. We called that. We called some blow up potential there with the Bucks. So
I expected them to be very good this season. I expect Dame Lillard to be a lesser Gabe Vincent in merely 2 years. We'll see. I was also doing some research on backup point guard because it would be nice to have a real backup point guard, especially one that can't get so easily played off the floor defensively. And so I looked up a couple. How would you feel about DeLon Wright?
He would be fine.
He would totally be fine.
Yeah.
Also, if you real listeners to this podcast will remember, DeLon Wright 4 steals, one in the last game of the regular season, won me a fantasy basketball
I
championship.
do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a real soft spot in my heart for DeLon Wright. Monte Morris on Detroit, also a little more play off the floorable defensively, but certainly a floor general type. And if they want to go younger and maybe cheaper, like they wouldn't have to trade a first round pick for those guys, I don't think. But a second and maybe a young roster guy that those teams would find interesting. Maybe Kyra Lewis, who's very fast and hasn't really had too much of a chance in New Orleans. I would like to see him change his pace elsewhere. I don't see them getting him, or probably not this guy, but also interesting to me long term is Killian Hayes on Detroit.
Well, they would probably see. I remember watching his YouTube, but I don't remember watching him at all. And doesn't KOC love Killian Hayes?
He does. He's been pretty
Killian
bad. Hayes has been bad. I still see potential in there developing into a solid player down the road, and sort of similar to how like Dante Exum like eventually became like a rotation player. But Hayes' shooting percentages are just so bad. They're so bad. And it'd be nice to have, there's other guy, the other quintessential backup point guard is TJ McConnell, but I just can't see them acquiring somebody that's on the books for next year.
Also, Morey's not a TJ guy.
Morey is not a TJ guy, which is a bummer.
Yeah. If you go back and watch the Morey from the bubble pod, you can see him indicate he's not a TJ guy.
Sure.
He's not allowed to mention him, but he indicates he's not a TJ guy.
Yeah, I think DeLon Wright would be my favorite. I think he's a really solid, really good defensive player.
That was of the guys you mentioned. That seems like the most solid player.
Yeah, I would trade, like, especially with the guys here. I would trade, like, maybe not tonight, but the contracts of Korkmaz and House to get him and add him to the rotation would be nice fit for him.
I mentioned I had a hip surgery update. Of course, I was waiting for my insurance company to approve the surgery after the chaos of my postponed surgery. I got the call from the doctor's office today. I am approved. I will be having hip surgery. I was so relieved, and it was nice of them to pick the worst date possible because they only do surgeries on Tuesdays. November 21st, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh, boy.
So I want to paint this picture, Mike.
Okay.
It's Thanksgiving. I've insisted that my wife go to Thanksgiving festivities with our family. I can't because I can't sit in the car for that long.
Okay.
Imagine me post-op by myself on opioids, sitting alone.
Why not have Thanksgiving at your place?
On Thanksgiving. I don't want everyone over. Are you kidding? First of
all,
all,
people are gonna get sleepy after the turkey anyway. You just roll your ass to the bedroom.
Everyone goes to my aunt's house. They come into North Jersey for fucking Thanksgiving. So double. If I fall down and I can't get up, it's gonna have to be my dog that saves me. But I am.
All right. So that Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, I'm doing a podcast without you.
Or you're doing it with me.
I thought you're not allowed to.
I'm allowed to do a podcast. It's just whether I actually can. Yeah, we should probably set up for me being not on that podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
Unless they delay it again.
Understood. Are you well, good luck, and we got some time, some more time to build up for the hip swap.
Yep. And we did an extra pod this week. So depending on what's going on, we could theoretically maybe even miss that one.
I mean, now that I'm back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now that I'm back, baby.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Excited to see how I get unback.
Yeah,
we'll see
when
that comes.
Yeah, don't
I am. Who is the player that you're? I mean, you're going to say Covington. Take the Covington feelings out of it.
Mm-hmm.
The like personal feelings for Covington. As far as a basketball help player, who is of the four are you most excited about?
Oh, Batum.
Yeah.
I
am also, and then the fact that he wasn't there tonight and said personal reasons. I started to get
Made you a little nervous that he doesn't want to be here?
Made me nervous in like an Andrei Kirilenko type of way.
Yeah.
And so I texted Newbeck and asked him if we were in a Kirilenko situation. He said, not that I know of. So
that's not a good answer.
I mean, if he knew, it wasn't like, I asked him if he was like,
this is why we need a real reporter like Sixers Adam to get this answer.
Adam.
He fucking sold us out.
But hopefully he's just, taking the time to move. His wife apparently had said that this was maybe his last season in the NBA. So like, does he really even want to move across the country? Probably not. So Batum is going to be very, very helpful here. There's a really good article from Dan Ollinger on Liberty Ballers.
I talked to him on the phone today.
It was a really good article, and he's excited about. I'm excited. I felt positive about Batum, and then reading this, I agree with everything he said in the article. Like connective passing, shooting willingness. Do you remember last season? He's done this to a couple teams, but he did it against us, and I think it was to win a game where Nick Batum catches it off the catch into his shooting pocket, like above his head, and without bringing it down, just shoots it, and it goes in. It's a baffling level of touch and dexterity to be able to do that, and that'll be fun to watch for us. And I think his defensive versatility is going to be really, really helpful.
As you're saying,
Korkmaz-esque, sure.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a little weak side rim protection, helpful. Just like the passing's gonna be great. It's just gonna be really helpful. There's a real chance that there's a non-zero chance that he forgets how to shoot in a way that somebody has to when they arrive in Philadelphia. But the package of Nick Batum should be really helpful on this team as a role player, and I'm excited to see it. If he doesn't decide to Andrei Kirilenko retire instead.
I think the concept of Nick Batum on the team is awesome. You were mentioning that Oubre is a guy that can do sort of everything, and Batum is that. He was
not
more
as athletic anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say he was more wingy early in his career. He was actually a really good fantasy player years ago. I relied on him a lot because he would get a lot of everything, and he would shoot a good percentage from free throw or whatever.
Sure.
I think the concept. What is he? 35?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got another year or two. Come on, man.
I mean, he said he doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't know, but yeah. Would you want them to to consolidate some of these guys and trade for a slightly better player, like not quite the Donovan Mitchell, Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, like shoot for the sky, or the Toronto guys shoot for the sky type trades, but more like a December trade for a Malcolm Brogdon or
I get nervous. I get nervous. You throw one first in there, it just makes me nervous doing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be the question: is do you go like, okay, we're not gonna maybe wait for the deadline for that. We're not gonna give all of our picks for 3 first-round picks for Siakam or something, and maybe they want to, but if they decide not to, we go like, okay, we'll trade one, and then get 2 picks back essentially at the draft to be able to make a big deal. So maybe a smaller deal at the deadline could see them going for like a Bojan Bogdanovic or a Bogdan Bogdanovic if the Hawks go sour, or like a Gordon Hayward type.
Yeah, Hayward's never plays. We can't. If you're gonna get a guy for half a season, he's got to be a guy that fucking plays games. You know what I mean? Like Hayward's hurt too much. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or the Sixers' depth works out, so we can say, Gordon, take your time. Ease in. 1 game a week, Gordy.
We just want you for the playoffs. We're going to get you on the projected PJ Tucker plan.
That's what I wanted. We have the plan. Your hand will remain alive. That's what we want. I'm excited, man. This is good. The team's 3-1. They're second in the East right now.
Yeah.
This is positive. Dangerously positive.
The most back we've ever been, which is just the perfect time to get shot right in the dick. Just a machine gun to the dick. Just you're dancing around, happy, watching the Sixers, and out of nowhere, somebody who can't shoot shoots you right in the dick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sixers Suns on Saturday. Should be a good one.
Are we doing? I thought we were doing pod Saturday. We're doing pod Saturday. Oh, because they play Friday and Saturday, right?
No, they play Saturday morning. That's the next podcast. They play Saturday morning for me.
What time do they play? Play like 1 o'clock or something?
Yeah,
like that?
10 o'clock my time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Should be good.
All right.
Feeling good. Feeling positive.
We'll talk to you
Everybody guard
next
yourself.
time. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. Like face.